What you are about to discover may tear apart the veil of reality as you know it. There is a secret guarded under lock and key, a knowledge that has traversed millennia in the shadows, manipulated by secret societies, censored by governments, and distorted by religion. This is not about belief, it is about knowing. And what you think is you might just be a fragment of something far greater. Throughout this video, we will explore clues left behind by rogue scientists, persecuted, mystics, and ancient texts deemed too dangerous for the public. Why is certain information about the mind, the soul, and the structure of the universe systematically hidden? What lies behind the color of your eyes, the patterns of your DNA, and those voices that whisper in your subconscious as you teeter on the edge of sleep? The answer may be closer than you think, but beware. Once you see what lies beyond the veil, there is no turning back. In what follows, you will understand why you've never heard about this, and how this secret could change everything. The eyes are not just mirrors of the soul, they are portals. Helena Blavatsky, one of history's greatest occultists, claimed that your eye color holds an ancestral code, an invisible signature revealing where your soul truly came from. Modern science has already proven that the iris is unique, like a cosmic fingerprint. But what if this uniqueness were not random? What if, somewhere between genetics and the unseen, the truth about who you really is written? For centuries, secret societies have studied the connection between the eyes and the origin of consciousness. The Egyptians mummified the eyeballs of their pharaohs, believing they held the key to the afterlife. Meanwhile, quantum physics suggests that the photons passing through your eyes carry information beyond the visible spectrum. When someone gazes deep into your eyes, could they be unconsciously reading your history? Or perhaps your future? Some daring researchers claim that certain eye colors are linked to specific lineages, not just familial, but extraterrestrial. People with extremely light blue eyes, for example, share a genetic mutation that appeared only 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. Is it a coincidence that, precisely during this period, myths of gods with luminous eyes began to emerge? Neuroscience has already discovered that different iris shades react distinctly to light, even affecting perception of reality. What else have they not told us? There are accounts of mystics who, in deep meditation, saw their own eye color temporarily change. Siberian shamans describe a second layer in the iris, visible only in altered states of consciousness. Could this be the true window to the soul? What if, on some quantum level, our eyes were devices tuned into parallel dimensions, filtering only what our minds are ready to comprehend? Some forbidden theosophical texts suggest that before the fall of Atlantis, humans possessed eyes capable of seeing beyond the physical spectrum. Over time, this ability was lost, but not erased. Could your eye color be a remnant of this dormant capability? And what if, under the right conditions, you could reactivate it? The answer may be closer than you think, hidden in the reflection you see every morning in the mirror. But there's something even more unsettling. Why do certain powerful organizations invest so heavily in iris recognition studies? What are they truly trying to identify? The answer may lie in an ancient Tibetan manuscript that mentions the eyes of the awakened, and what it reveals will challenge everything you think you know about yourself. There is a map hidden in your eyes, and it may lead to places erased from official history. Blavatsky believed that every iris hue carried echoes of ancient races, from the amber-eyed Atlanteans to the glacial iris Hyperboreans. Genetics confirms it. Certain ocular mutations appeared at specific points on Earth, as if marked by something or someone. What would happen if you discovered your eye color is a seal of interdimensional ancestry? Ancient legends speak of entire peoples whose eyes glowed in the dark, capable of seeing through the illusions of matter. The Dogon of Mali have precise myths about stars invisible to the naked eye, knowledge they attribute to beings with eyes like night beacons. Meanwhile, in cutting-edge labs, scientists have discovered that melanin, the pigment defining dark colors, possesses subtle energy-conducting properties. Could this be why deep black-eyed shamans are considered living portals in so many cultures? A leaked Vatican document mentions a 16th century experiment where alchemists attempted to transplant the irises of visionaries into others. The results were so disturbing that all records were burned, except for one phrase: "The eyes do not see, they remember." In quantum physics, the phenomenon of entanglement suggests particles can remain connected beyond time and space. What if your eyes were quantum dots linked to other timelines? There are reports of people who, after near-death experiences, returned with slight changes in eye pigmentation. Skeptical doctors attribute this to light variations, but Gnostic texts describe the same phenomenon as the seal of the initiated. In remote mountains of the Caucasus, archaeologists found elongated skulls with fossilized iris remnants, all with geometric patterns identical to those seen in people with certain psychic syndromes today. What could this parallel hide? The most shocking evidence may lie in your DNA. Icelandic researchers identified a phantom gene present in 3% of the population, always linked to green eyes or heterochromia. This same group displays unusual perceptual abilities in lab tests. Unsurprisingly, in every major spiritual revolution in history, leaders with these traits emerge as key figures. Could we be looking at a genetic program activated at crucial moments in human evolution? But brace yourself for the real shock. Recently declassified KGB archives mention an operation called Project Iris, an attempt to create super soldiers based on genetic engineering of specific eye colors. What they discovered was so far beyond expectations that the project was buried in 1986, until a secret diary surfaced with a phrase that will leave you breathless. Somewhere between the blue of the sky and the gold of the sun, there exists a color so rare it was deemed divine or demonic throughout the centuries. Green eyes do not follow the rules of common genetics, appearing as a statistical anomaly that defies biology. Medieval alchemists called this hue the bridge between realms, believing those who possessed it could traverse visible and invisible worlds. Was this mere superstition, or is there an ancestral truth encoded in this cosmic rarity? Modern science confirms the strange pattern. While brown eyes dominate 70% of the global population and blues around 8%, greens barely reach 2%. Mysteriously, concentrated in certain Celtic and Slavic lineages. But the most unsettling data comes from neurology. Green-eyed individuals show 23% greater activity in the right temporal lobe, the area linked to intuition and transcendent experiences. It's no coincidence that so many prophets and seers throughout history shared this almost supernatural physical trait. In forbidden texts from the Library of Alexandria, saved from the flames by an unknown monk, there are descriptions of an Mari, emerald race that ruled a lost empire before the Great Flood. These beings were said to be tall, pale-skinned, with eyes like the sea churned by a storm. Curiously, DNA tests on red-haired, green-eyed Celtic mummies revealed unknown genetic markers, sequences that don't match any modern human group. Who or what created this bloodline? Quantum physics may hold the key to this enigma. Recent studies on biophotons revealed that green-eyed people emit a unique luminous pattern during deep meditative states, an energy signature resembling the most complex crop circles. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute discovered that their electromagnetic fields can influence EEG machines remotely. Could this explain legends of green-eyed witches who could heal or curse with just a glance? In occult traditions, the emerald hue is always tied to an activated third eye. And here, the mystery deepens. A secret Tibetan manuscript, guarded for generations by lamas, describes a ritual to awaken the emerald serpent that begins precisely by fixating on green eyes. Accounts claim that after 40 days of practice, the disciple would develop X-ray vision and access to the Akashic library. Coincidence or lost ancestral technology? But the real secret may be hidden in plain sight. In 1991, during excavations in Crimea, archaeologists uncovered an elongated skull with perfectly preserved ocular tissue, and the eyes were bright green even after millennia. The official report vanished, but a technician who saw the material described something impossible. They seemed alive and stared straight into your soul. What else was found in that tomb is about to rewrite everything we know about human evolution. Your brain judges strangers in 0.3 seconds, and eye color is the first unconscious criterion. Studies from Örebro University reveal that blue-eyed people are systematically perceived as more trustworthy, while dark brown eyes instantly evoke feelings of authority. But here's the dirty secret conventional psychology won't admit. These reactions aren't cultural. They're ancestral memories awakening. What does your DNA know that your conscious mind has forgotten? UCLA neuroscientists conducted a disturbing experiment. They showed subjects MRI images of varied eyes. Whenever green or heterochromatic eyes appeared, the visual cortex activated regions normally linked to recognizing sacred patterns. Stranger still? This reaction was 300% stronger in volunteers whose grandmothers had tales about people with strange eyes. Could this be Jung's collective unconscious, proving we carry ocular archetypes etched into our genetic code? In 1987, a leaked document from the CIA's Stargate project revealed that agents trained in remote viewing had a 47% higher success rate when the target had light-colored eyes. The reports mention quantum access points in the iris that would facilitate psychic connection. Meanwhile, Siberian shamans use masks with differently colored pupils for each ritual, claiming certain colors open specific portals. Science is only beginning to understand what ancient traditions have practiced for millennia. The most intriguing phenomenon occurs in dreams. A 5-year study at the Monroe Institute analyzed 12,000 dream reports and uncovered a sinister pattern. People who frequently dreamed of figures with golden or violet eyes later exhibited measurable changes in their pineal gland. In 8% of cases, they developed synesthesia or spontaneous past life memories. This might explain why so many cultures consider prolonged eye contact a spiritual risk. You're not just looking, you're potentially connecting to other timelines, but the real danger or gift may lie in emerging technology. Neuromarketing firms already use eye-tracking algorithms that adapt ads not to what you look at, but to the color of your own eyes. Internal reports show this technique is 80% more effective, suggesting our limbic system responds differently to stimuli based on this biological factor. Imagine what governments or occult groups could do with this knowledge. Now for the most disturbing revelation. In 2023, Israeli researchers discovered that coma patients react differently to colored light depending on their own eye shade, as if an ocular operating system were running beneath consciousness. The study's lead vanished mysteriously after claiming to have deciphered the activation code. His final notes mentioned something about eyes that don't reflect but project. The profound darkness of certain brown eyes may guard humanity's oldest secrets. Indigenous Amazonian tribes call these eyes windows of the earth, believing ancestral souls continue living through these portals. Neuroscience found something astonishing. People with near-black irises have higher ganglion cell density, as if their eyes were literally built to absorb more light, or some other form of energy science doesn't yet understand. The mysteries deepen when examining ancient Sumerian texts. Clay tablets describe the Anunnaki as beings with eyes that swallowed light, a trait reserved for the priestly caste. Coincidentally, DNA tests on elongated Peruvian skulls revealed a mutation in the OCA2 gene. the very gene regulating melanin production in extremely dark eyes. Are we heirs to a lineage the ancients considered divine? A forbidden Soviet experiment from the 1960s may hold disturbing clues. Scientists exposed dark-eyed volunteers to specific sound and light frequencies. In 73% of cases, subjects began fluently speaking dead languages and describing submerged cities with precise architectural details, knowledge they couldn't possibly have. The files were destroyed, but a surviving technician swore he saw a participant levitate while their eyes shone like black stars. Quantum physics offers a potential explanation. Melanin in very dark eyes may function as an organic conductor for non-local information. HeartMath Institute research shows these individuals emit unique electromagnetic patterns during meditative states, patterns matching those found at certain megalithic sites. Could this be why ancient cultures reserved leadership roles for the eyes of the night? The real shock came in 2018 when underwater archaeologists found an intact chamber near Japan's Yonaguni ruins. Its walls bore unknown hieroglyphs describing a ritual to awaken the all-seeing eye, always depicted as deep black. Even eerier, spectrographic analysis revealed the paint contained traces of a mineral only found in fossilized human corneas. Now, the revelation that redefines everything. Recent satellite imagery shows the world's major megalithic structures are aligned in a pattern that only makes sense when viewed through lenses mimicking light refraction in extremely dark brown eyes. Who or what designed Earth to be read this way? And why was this knowledge erased from history? A genetic mutation 6,000 years ago created the first pair of blue eyes in human history. Or so geneticists want you to believe. But what if this random change was actually an activation signal? Ancient Nordic tribes spoke of winter eyes as marks of the god-chosen, while Tibetan lamas recognize blue-eyed individuals as tulkus, souls reborn with specific missions. Modern science uncovered something unsettling. Blue-eyed people share a common ancestor so recent it defies evolutionary laws. The mysteries intensify when analyzing global patterns. Regions with the highest concentrations of blue eyes align precisely with ancient solar cults and megalithic monuments. Stranger still, DNA tests revealed Stonehenge's builders carried a genetic variant now found only in, you guessed it, blue-eyed people. Is this color a lineage marker, a cosmic barcode left by lost civilizations? In 2012, a controversial Max Planck Institute study showed blue-eyed individuals produce 40% more melatonin, the hormone tied to circadian rhythms and perception of non-physical realities. No surprise so many historical mediums and seers shared this trait. But here's the data that shocked researchers. When exposed to certain sound frequencies, these subjects exhibited synchronized brain activity, as if they were human antennas tuned to the same station. The Vatican's archives contain medieval accounts of indigo children with electric blue eyes who claimed to remember extraterrestrial civilizations. In 1789, a secret document describes a prodigy boy who drew accurate star maps. His eyes shifted hue with the positions of the stars he mentioned. The church quickly silenced the case, but records survived in hidden catacombs. Quantum physics may explain part of this mystery. Recent experiments show that the collagen structure in blue eyes creates a unique resonance effect when exposed to torsional fields, exactly the type of energy theorists believe is used in warp drive technology. Is it a coincidence that so many accounts of encounters with advanced beings describe creatures with luminous blue eyes? Could we be looking at a biological signature of contact? But brace yourself for the final revelation. In 2021, archaeologists in Bulgaria discovered a 12,000-year-old artifact containing microcrystals that only reflect blue light when exposed to a specific human vocal frequency. The pattern of these crystals matches exactly the melanin distribution in modern blue eyes. What does this mean? Perhaps we're all carrying an ancient communication device in our faces, and it's about to be reactivated. In certain occult circles, heterochromia isn't a genetic anomaly. It's a sign that two souls occupy the same body. Ancient Egyptian texts describe those with this trait as children of Horus and Set, capable of seeing order and chaos simultaneously. Modern medicine classifies it as mere melanin variation, but why then have so many shamans, artists, and revolutionaries throughout history shared this rare trait? Quantum physics offers a disturbing clue. Recent experiments with entangled particles show they can exist in two states at once, just as differently colored eyes seem to perceive distinct frequencies of reality. In 2018, a controversial study by the Institute of Noetic Sciences revealed that people with heterochromia had 60% more activity in the corpus callosum, the bridge between brain hemispheres. Could this explain ancient accounts of dual consciousness among these individuals? Celtic legends speak of children of twilight, beings with one blue and one green eye who could supposedly see the physical and spiritual worlds simultaneously. In 2020, archaeologists in Scotland uncovered 3,000-year-old skeletons with unusual cranial markings, all showing genetic evidence of heterochromia. Most shocking, the bones were arranged in geometric patterns that only make sense when viewed through differently colored lenses. What lost knowledge did these ancient peoples possess? KGB archives contain disturbing Cold War-era reports on experiments to artificially induce heterochromia in special agents. Test subjects developed unusual precognition and mind-reading abilities, along with severe identity crises. One classified document describes an agent who could switch off vision in one eye to access altered states. The project was abruptly terminated after participants reported hearing voices from the other side. But the deepest mystery may lie in our DNA. Icelandic researchers found that heterochromia carriers often share a unique genetic sequence on chromosome 15, the same region linked to out-of-body experiences. Strangely, this mutation appears spontaneously in families with no history of the condition, as if activated by an unknown trigger. Some theorists suggest it's an evolutionary switch, preparing humanity for a quantum leap in consciousness. The final revelation comes from a newly translated Tibetan manuscript describing two-eyed yogis, masters who could project their consciousness to other planes while keeping one foot in physical reality. The text claims this ability was activated through a ritual involving mirrors and colored light, exactly the technique a Swiss lab is now testing to induce expanded states of awareness. Are we rediscovering a forgotten spiritual technology? And what happens when someone learns to fully control these two channels of perception? There's a reason why all ancient cultures either feared or revered the power of an intense gaze. Neuroscientists have discovered that direct eye contact triggers an electrical storm in the brain, releasing an explosive mix of oxytocin, adrenaline, and endogenous DMT. But the mystics knew this first. Vedic texts describe tritaka, an eye fixation technique capable of opening dimensional portals. What really happens when two souls lock eyes for more than 9 seconds, the threshold where science says trance begins? Secret CIA experiments in the 1960s, known as Project Cyclops, revealed something disturbing. Certain eye movement patterns can implant suggestions directly into the subconscious. The reports describe how volunteers were led to commit illogical acts simply by following the hypnotic dance of trained eyes. More shocking, 15% of the population would be especially susceptible, precisely those with multicolored irises or unusual, concentric patterns. Could this be the true origin of the evil eye? In 2021, Russian biophysicists made a groundbreaking discovery. The human cornea emits pulses of biophotons organized in fractal patterns. Meditators emitted light sequences resembling binary code. The most terrifying finding? These light messengers were unconsciously absorbed by those who stared at them, slightly altering their brainwaves. This would explain why so many traditions forbid prolonged eye contact with certain priests or shamans. The Vatican archives hold medieval manuscripts describing the battle of gazes between saints and demons. One particularly disturbing 13th century text details how a monk exorcised a possessed nun simply by staring at her for 40 minutes, after which her eyes overflowed with a liquid black as jet. Modern brain scans show that extreme emotional stress can temporarily alter iris pigmentation. What else are our eyes capable of under extreme conditions? But the real secret may lie in quantum physics. Recent experiments at CERN suggest subatomic particles can remember being observed. Applied biologically, this would mean every exchanged gaze leaves a permanent energetic imprint, a kind of quantum tattoo on the soul. Esoteric traditions have always claimed eyes are organs that absorb and project, and now science is beginning to prove it literally. The final revelation comes from a forbidden 1993 Siberian experiment where scientists tried to create a perfect ocular mirror. Leaked documents mention that after 72 hours of exposure, 8 out of 10 volunteers developed a rare condition. Their irises reflected scenes they'd never witnessed, as if absorbing others' memories. The lead researcher vanished, leaving only an enigmatic note. They are not windows, they are doorways. What or who might be crossing through these doorways when we stare long enough? Exponentially, a phenomenon conventional medicine calls Alexandria syndrome, but mystics call the awakening of the seventh race. In 1987, only 12 cases were known worldwide. Today, unofficial estimates suggest over 8,000. What's causing this accelerated genetic change? And why do these children share extraordinary cognitive abilities and memories of civilizations that never existed? Genetics offers a partial explanation, an OCA2 gene mutation that reduces melanin while intensifying iris vascularization. But the most disturbing data comes from a secret study in an underground New Mexico facility. When exposed to certain sound frequencies, these violet irises emitted measurable luminescence and vibrated in perfect geometric patterns. Researchers noted this vibration precisely matched creation formulas found in sacred geometry from ancient temples. Forbidden Gnostic texts speak of the purple men, beings who inhabited Earth before the Great Flood, with eyes that saw through time. In 2019, archaeologists in Turkey uncovered a 12,000-year-old subterranean chamber with paintings of tall, violet-eyed figures performing what appear to be brain surgeries. Most shocking? The pigment used contained traces of iridium, a rare element on Earth but common in meteorites. Stanford neuroscientists made an alarming discovery. Violet-eyed individuals exhibit brain activity 47% faster than average, with simultaneous access to multiple long-term memory areas. In controlled tests, they solved complex problems before they were fully stated, as if reading reality's matrix in real time. One anonymous researcher admitted, "We're not studying a genetic mutation. We're witnessing the next evolutionary leap." But the mystery deepens when examining cosmic patterns. Since 2001, NASA satellites have detected unexplained violet light pulses from Earth toward the galactic center, always coinciding with the birth of violet-eyed children. In 2023, astronomers confirmed these emissions precisely match the light spectrum reflected by human violet eyes in lab conditions. Are we the source of these cosmic signals? The final revelation comes from a recently discovered Tibetan manuscript describing a 26,000-year cycle where souls from future times return with eyes the color of eternal twilight. The text states that when 144,000 of these beings are incarnated simultaneously, a dimensional portal will open above Mount Kailash. Currently, predictive algorithms suggest we will reach this number by 2036, exactly when several ancient prophecies predicted the Great Shift. What will happen when this critical mass of violet eyes fully awakens? Your left eye may be telling a different story than your right, and both are written in a geometric language predating humanity. Israeli researchers discovered that iris patterns follow fractal sequences identical to those found in quantum equations and ancient sacred temples. But here's the best-kept secret. These formations subtly change before traumatic events or spiritual epiphanies, as if your eyes were living maps of your potential future. Who or what programmed this cosmic navigation system into your biology? In 2017, an MIT-developed AI algorithm learned to predict personality traits with 94% accuracy by analyzing iris photographs. The system identified 28 recurring patterns that exactly matched the ocular seals described in a 14th century alchemical manuscript. More disturbing, when tested on photos of people before and after near-death experiences, the algorithm detected pattern changes that anticipated the transformation, sometimes years in advance. Were our eyes designed as biological premonition devices? KGB archives contain reports from a program called Sphera that trained agents to read human intentions through microcontractions in the iris. Declassified documents reveal that certain star-shaped patterns were always present in individuals with proven psychic abilities. In 1989, during an extreme experiment, an agent predicted a terrorist attack 72 hours in advance, claiming to have read the event in a complete stranger's eyes during a routine test. Quantum physics offers a chilling explanation. Experiments with entangled particles show that mere observation alters outcomes. Applied to the human iris, this would suggest our eye patterns don't just reflect but potentially shape reality. Hermetic texts have always claimed that the eye that sees is also the eye that creates. Now science is discovering how literal this may be. But the real shock came in 2021 when archaeologists in Bolivia discovered an elongated crystal artifact that, when lit a certain way, projected patterns identical to those in human irises. Carbon dating revealed the object was approximately 17,000 years old, millennia before the rise of civilization as we know it. What else did these unknown creators know about vision's hidden potential? The final revelation lies in your own reflection. CERN researchers discovered that when individuals with specific iris patterns focus on solving the same problem simultaneously, their brain waves sync even across continents. This effect is 300% stronger during certain planetary alignments. Are we all connected through a cosmic consciousness network with our eyes as natural antennas? And what happens when we learn to tune this network intentionally? Every eye color vibrates at a specific frequency, and this is literally shaping the world around you. HeartMath Institute studies revealed brown eyes emit an electromagnetic field 30% more intense under stress, while blue eyes produce regular pulses resembling meditative theta waves. But the most extraordinary data came from a 2022 secret experiment. When volunteers with different iris colors were placed in sensory isolation chambers, their EEGs showed patterns matching ancient sacred musical scales. Could this be the origin of the myth that eyes sing silently? Forbidden alchemical texts mention the concertio ocularum, a supposed ability to harmonize realities by tuning specific eye colors. In 2018, quantum physicists demonstrated something disturbing. Photons reflected by green eyes showed more stable quantum entanglement properties than other colors. Would this explain why so many mystical traditions reserved leadership positions for bearers of this rare hue? Data suggest certain eye color combinations create constructive interference capable, in theory, of slightly bending the fabric of local reality. Vatican archives contain accounts of the miracle of L'Aquila in 1466, where 3 children with amber, blue, and green eyes allegedly stopped an earthquake by uniting their gazes. Secret documents describe how modern seismographs detected an inexplicable cancellation wave emanating from the children's exact location. Stranger still, later exams showed their irises had temporarily shifted to the same silvery hue, a phenomenon Russian researchers replicated in labs using specific sound frequencies. UCLA neuroscientists made a groundbreaking discovery. Eye color directly influences how we process pain. People with darker eyes experience physical pain more intensely, but have significantly higher emotional thresholds. The opposite is true for light-eyed individuals. This polarity perfectly mirrors yin-yang principles and suggests eye colors may be part of a cosmic balancing system far greater than we imagined. But the deeper mystery lies in the magnetite crystals, found in the human retina. In 2023, German researchers discovered these crystals arrange in distinct patterns according to eye color and respond to magnetic fields similarly to migratory birds' navigation systems. Blue-eyed individuals showed 400% greater sensitivity to Earth's magnetic field fluctuations. Are we all equipped with a biological compass whose function depends on our eye color? The final revelation comes from an unauthorized experiment in Kazakhstan, where scientists exposed volunteers to a quantum ocular mirror, reflecting specific patterns based on their eye color. After 72 hours, 89% of participants began reporting identical visions of a possible future, regardless of language or cultural background. The device was confiscated, but a technician leaked a crucial note. They're not seeing the future. They're creating it. What will happen when a critical mass of humanity learns to consciously tune this ocular frequency? Your amber iris may contain traces of genetic code not entirely of this world. In 2021, Cambridge geneticists identified unique DNA sequences in amber-eyed individuals, a segment appearing in no other known human genome. Most disturbing? This sequence perfectly matches samples from a meteorite recovered in Siberia in 1947. Are we looking at definitive proof of extraterrestrial intervention in human evolution? Sumerian texts describe the Anunnaki as beings with eyes like the setting sun, capable of seeing through matter. In 2018, archaeologists in Iraq discovered sophisticated crystal lenses that, when placed before modern amber eyes, projected 3D images of molecular structures. How could an ancient civilization create technology that only works with a 21st century genetic mutation? Researchers noted these lenses emit faint radiation when exposed to sunlight, the exact frequency that activates photoluminescence in human amber eyes. Soviet space program archives contain disturbing reports. During the 1975 Soyuz 18 mission, cosmonaut Vladimir Kovalyonok temporarily developed glowing amber eyes while describing visions of floating crystal cities. Later analyses showed his DNA had undergone epigenetic modifications identical to those observed in indigo children. What did he encounter in space that triggered this transformation? Quantum physics offers a chilling clue. Recent experiments revealed the molecular structure of melanin in amber eyes creates unique resonance when exposed to certain microwave frequencies, the same frequencies detected by radio telescopes as potential alien technosignatures. It's no coincidence that so many abduction accounts describe golden-eyed beings who seem to read minds. Might they be tuning into this natural frequency? But the real shock came from an accidental discovery at the Large Hadron Collider. In 2022, physicists observed subatomic particles behaving anomalously around amber-eyed individuals, as if their mere observation created tiny space-time distortions. The data was quickly classified, but an anonymous researcher revealed, "We're not studying particles, we're witnessing a form of consciousness transcending matter. The final revelation hides in your own DNA." Genetic sequencing shows amber-eyed individuals share epigenetic markers with tissue samples recovered from the Roswell incident. Most disturbing? These markers only activate during certain planetary alignments, as if they were cosmic alarm clocks set for a future event. What will happen when the last of these star genes awakens? Within every human iris lies a hidden pattern ancients called the eye within the eye. Blavatsky briefly mentioned in her private diaries a technique to activate this second sight, but the manuscript was censored before publication. Now, cutting-edge researchers have discovered we all carry this geometric signature, a perfect fractal hidden in iris patterns that only reveals itself under UV light. Why was this knowledge suppressed? And what happens when someone learns to switch on this biological trigger? In 2023, Swiss ophthalmologists developed a 4D camera mapping iris microvasculature. The images revealed something impossible: microscopic, tetrahedral crystal structures reflecting light at invisible wavelengths. Stranger still, these structures rearranged during deep meditation, forming patterns identical to Vedic third eye symbols. The discovery was quickly classified, but a technician leaked. They're not crystals, they're transmitters. Stasi archives contain reports of 1970s experiments where political prisoners with specific iris patterns were subjected to light-based torture sessions. Documents describe how some developed the ability to see through walls after certain frequency stimulations, but always at the cost of their sanity. One particularly disturbing report mentions a subject whose eyes opened like portals, briefly revealing a geometry not of this universe. Modern neuroscience has discovered these. Hidden iris patterns are directly connected to the pineal gland through previously unknown neural bundles. When stimulated by specific magnetic pulses, 78% of volunteers reported vivid out-of-body experiences and visions of parallel realities. More intriguing, their accounts matched specific details, as if accessing the same non-physical space. A rogue researcher stated, "We're not activating vision, we're deactivating filters." But the true mystery lies in newly translated Tibetan texts describing exercises to rotate the internal mandala of the iris. The manuscripts claim that when both eyes, physical and occult, perfectly align, the practitioner gains access to the cosmic library. In 2021, archaeologists in the Gobi Desert discovered quartz lenses that, when placed over modern eyes, project holograms of ancestral knowledge, but only work for people with specific iris patterns. Who created this genetic activation technology millennia ago? The final revelation comes from an unauthorized experiment in a Norwegian underground facility. Scientists exposed volunteers to a device simultaneously stimulating the iris and pineal with resonant frequencies. After 3 days, 60% temporarily developed mind-reading and aura-seeing abilities, but all reported the same disturbing vision: a light network connecting all human eyes as if we were cells of a gigantic cosmic being. The project was abruptly terminated when participants began telepathically communicating and seeing something moving through this network. A disturbing pattern emerges among global elites, an abnormal incidence of gray eyes, a color so rare it appears in less than 1% of the population. Leaked World Economic Forum documents reveal secret studies on ocular leadership profiles where this specific hue is classified as optimal for social compliance. Neuroscientists found gray eyes emit a unique alpha brainwave pattern, the hue, same induced during MK Ultra programming sessions. Is this a natural mutation or the result of ancient genetic engineering? Vatican archives contain altered paintings of popes and cardinals whose eyes were meticulously repainted gray in official portraits. A restorer accidentally discovered their true warmer hues beneath the layers. In 2017, independent researchers analyzed DNA from 23 current global leaders. 18 shared an identical PAX6 gene variant, causing extreme melanin reduction. The odds of this occurring naturally? 0.03%. 1960s CIA experiments, codenamed Project Silvergate, revealed something chilling. Gray-eyed subjects responded 400% better to brainwashing techniques. Their EEGs showed brainwave patterns, making them ideal receivers for mental implants. Declassified documents describe how certain light frequencies made their pupils pulse in perfect sync, a phenomenon researchers called the antenna effect. It's no coincidence modern legislative chambers all use silver-toned lighting. Quantum physics may explain part of this mystery. In 2022, CERN discovered subatomic particles behave differently when observed by gray-eyed individuals. In controlled tests, they collapsed wave functions 0.3 seconds faster than average, as if their perception was more efficient at determining reality. Ancient Hermetic texts called this the vision of builders, the ability to shape matter with gaze. But the true horror lies in unpublished Dead Sea Scrolls. A forbidden fragment describes a race of silver men who ruled Atlantis using eyes that hypnotize multitudes. These beings allegedly survived the cataclysm and infiltrated royal bloodlines worldwide. In 2015, marine archaeologists near Bimini found structures emitting a sonic frequency that temporarily turns eyes silver gray, alongside measurable increases in suggestibility. The final revelation comes from a Pentagon whistleblower leaking images of a device called Iris Sync. This helmet-ocular hybrid is used to synchronize iris patterns in field agents. Files mention an activation protocol, temporarily transforming brown eyes to metallic gray, with drastic increases in persuasion skills. What else is this project testing? And why do all technical manual copies lack pages in the technology origin section? In Helena Blavatsky's censored diaries, we find recurring mentions of a third iris, not physical but luminous, that supposedly activates when the two physical irises achieve a rare state of synchronization. In 2023, Stanford University researchers accidentally discovered a phenomenon that may confirm this theory. When certain individuals enter deep states of unified consciousness, their eyes begin emitting a biophoton pattern that temporarily forms a third luminous ring around the iris. What does this ocular triad represent? And why was this knowledge deemed so dangerous that all references were removed from public editions of the secret doctrine? Indian intelligence archives contain reports of yogis who, after decades of specific practices, developed the ability to project images directly from their eyes, a phenomenon documented in controlled tests where these masters made Tibetan symbols appear on photographic film through gaze alone. More disturbing, the images only manifested when the film was developed under red light, the exact frequency quantum physics associates with the zero-point field. Blavatsky claimed true spiritual vision occurred at this specific frequency, which she called the light that is not light. Recent AI experiments revealed something extraordinary. When fed thousands of human iris images, algorithms consistently identified a hidden pattern scientists dubbed the Horus signature, a geometric code present in all irises, but only visible when analyzed through a specific combination of spectrography and magnetic resonance. This pattern is identical to the all-seeing eye symbol found across ancient cultures, separated by oceans and millennia. Could this be proof of intelligent design encoded in our biology? Neuroscience is beginning to understand the mechanism behind this hidden third eye. In 2024, researchers mapped previously unknown neural pathways between the retina and pineal gland, forming a closed-loop system, a quantum feedback circuit that only activates under specific conditions. Patients with damage to this neural pathway report complete loss of vivid dreams and intuition. Most fascinating, this circuit is 300% more developed in people with spontaneous transcendent experiences. But the real secret may lie in mitochondrial DNA. A groundbreaking March 2024 Nature study revealed a genetic sequence, dubbed the Blavatsky gene, that appears to encode instructions for activating this luminous third iris. The sequence exists in all humans, but remains dormant in most. Researchers found it can be activated through a precise combination of sound and light frequencies, exactly as described in ancient tantric texts. Who or what placed this code in our genome? The final revelation comes from a 2025 incident at the Large Hadron Collider, when a proton beam collided with a detector under inexplicable conditions, projecting onto the vacuum chamber wall a pattern identical to Blavatsky's described triple eye. Present physicists reported simultaneous visions and a strange sensation of being observed from within. The pattern vanished in 3.33 seconds, but left permanent marks on the equipment and in witnesses' retinas. Are we facing evidence that human consciousness and the universe's structure share the same ocular signature? And what happens when a critical mass of humans fully activate this third eye?